Hey y'all, so first, before we make our collard greens, we want to rinse out our sink because we're using fresh greens and we need plenty of space to wash our greens, but we want to use a clean sink. So as you can see here, I kind of just wash it out with some soap and water, and I'm rinsing it out, making sure there's no more bubbles. And yeah, that's that. All right, now we have our collards. You can also do mixed greens if you want. I prefer collards. I just love it. I love the texture. It doesn't like wilter down and get soggy like a lot of the other greens. Anytime I use kale, I'm normally making like a kale cold salad. So here we're just making some fresh collard greens. Now I know they don't look dirty, but they are. So we want to rinse them off. I'm going to use cold water, or you can just kind of use like a room temperature. You don't have to have it like freezing cold, but yeah. So it's more like room temperature. But I'm a girl, so you know, hot water is hot water and cold water is cold water. All right. Moving on. Make sure you get a nice deep pot. I wish I had my bigger pot, but I don't. It's actually in storage with a lot of my catering stuff because I have so much. It's just in storage. So this is the biggest pot I have in the house right now. So my pot is on medium-high heat, and I'm adding my vegetable broth. This is going to give it so much flavor. Like, yeah, the smoked turkey gives it flavor because we're going to boil that down. But, yeah, use the vegetable broth. It's going to save so much time trying to figure out how to season your greens and all that good stuff. This vegetable broth is amazing. So I used the whole thing, and I'll have the measurements in the description box of how much I actually put in here because I only use one. The rest of the way we're going to be using water. So we're also going to start off with 4 cups of water. Hot water, warm water, whatever you got, it's going to boil anyway. So that's about 4 cups of water with our vegetable broth. With that, we're going to add our smoked turkey. This is a smoked turkey drum. I'm also going to add a smoked turkey wing to this. Now, this drum is freaking huge, y'all. You can see the comparison. So it's so huge that I actually, you're not going to see it in this video, but I took it out and I had another smoked drum. So I actually replaced this drum you see in the video with a smaller one. And I gave that one to my dog. Once it comes to a boil, you want to make it on you want to make sure it's on a high boil because we really want that meat to break down. Even though it's already cooked, we want it to pull apart. I have 1.5, want to say medium onion, cumin, all the measurements in the description box. We have some salt coming up. There we go. Salt. And I know this looks like a lot of seasoning, but this is all going to reduce down and we're going to have to add more water. So I add cumin, ginger, salt, and then we also got some black pepper. Yes. Make sure you read the measurements in the description box, and you can use less or more if you want. That is the Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire, however you want to say it. And then because it reduced down so much, I add 4 more cups of water. And then we're going to place our lid back on and let it do what it do. You want it to break down some more, let all those flavors marinate. I'm just giving it a quick stir before I place the lid back on. But yeah, it smells so freaking good. Yeah, I love to cook. I love to eat. I mean, it just goes together. All right, I almost forgot one thing. Let's get the paprika. That was taking me so long. I was actually like looking in my cabinet for the paprika. And you definitely want to add a little paprika in there. Here are our collard greens. I already pretty much cut the other ones, but this is how I cut the greens off of the stem. You can also, you don't have to use a knife, especially if you're not comfortable. You can do this by hand and just kind of rip the greens off of the stem. It works just as fine. When you want a more like uniform look for your collard greens, and mind you, these are holiday recipes and this is for your family. So if you can, I suggest you do it this way to make it look so much more professional. But if not, greens are greens. As long as the flavors are there, they're going to eat it. So I pretty much just cut the stems out and I put that in the trash. Some people do actually use a little bit of the stems in their greens. I don't. If you do want to, then you want to put the stems in immediately because those take so much longer to break down and soften. So you roll your greens up and you cut them like so. Watch those fingers. Watch those fingers. So we're going to cut up all of our greens just like that. And you can cut them to how you want to cut them. You can cut them smaller than I am. You can cut them bigger, but this is pretty much how I like mine. So I just roll them and give them a nice cut. And I just wanted to show you guys how I roll. It's a lot of greens here. Roll them, roll them, roll them. Cut them down. Watch those fingers. You see, I'm always scared to cut myself. And actually the nails help me not chop off my fingers. There's probably been like 2 or 3 times while I was cooking or cutting, and I definitely got that nail in there and was like, thank God my nail was right there. I'm not saying use your nails as guards. I'm just saying be careful. And I'm also saying that I've been lucky. Not so lucky on the burning though. A lot of the time when I'm frying or boiling, I get popped. So that's probably why you see so many tattoos on my hand. I try to cover them up because they were looking pretty funky. With or without gloves, once your hand gets popped, it's over. So here's our broth. As you can see, it's coming down. Our smoked turkey. See, that's the smaller turkey drum that I was telling you guys about. And you see how it just falls off the bone? That's how you know when your broth is ready, honey. So you want to take those out, remove those. Sometimes I leave them in if I have a bigger pot, but because my pot isn't so big, I take those out so I can fit my greens in there. So we're going to take our fresh collards, throw them in there. They're freshly clean. They're cut. They're beautiful in color. Like, I used Instacart, so the guy who picked these out did amazing. And I'm so grateful because I didn't feel like going to the store. Thank you, Instacart. So yeah, we're just going to put our greens in there. And just like any other greens, spinach, kale, and everything else, it never looks like there's enough room. But once you get them down there, we got it. So as you can see, the broth did reduce down more because we have about total of 8 cups of water so far. And the entire container of vegetable broth. So we are going to add some more water to this because we want our greens pretty much covered in broth. And just us adding the water is going to bring it down. So here we have our smoked turkey. The easiest way to take the meat off the bone is to get 2 forks, in my opinion. If you're good with the heat, you can use your hand, but this shit is hot. So I use 2 forks. Boom. Try to get as much meat off as I can. And don't too much worry about the drum bone. I actually replaced my drum bone back into my pot of greens. Not so much as the wing bone, only because it's so thin. So I just basically want to get all the meat off of the turkey wing bone. And it's pretty easy, especially when you're using 2 forks. This is the old school way, y'all. Y'all don't remember seeing your grandmama or somebody else's grandmama doing this? If you don't, it's okay, because you see me. I'm nobody's grandma, but I do have a beautiful son, so I'm somebody's mama. So this is how I do it. There we go. So here are the greens, and you're going to see me add that 4 cups of water. Here we are. Use your 4 cups of water, and then we want to add vinegar. This is our vinegar. Measurements will be in the description box because I'm not too great on showing you on camera. So just make sure you write down the recipe. I added my bone. I just feel like it gives it more flavor. It looks better. They look like them old school collard greens. So that's why I put the drum bone in there. There's also a little bit more meat and flavor on that bone. So I put that one in there. Add up my shredded smoked turkey meat that we just removed from the wing and the drum. Yes. I know it look good already. Y'all can't lie. Don't lie to me. Y'all know it look good. I'm such a foodie. So I'm just giving my pot a nice stir. Yes. If you don't want the skin in yours, you don't have to. I love the skin in my greens. And mind you, if you don't want to use turkey, another old school way is just using some pork. You can also use turkey necks, turkey tails, your pork, whatever you want to use. But this is how I like to make it. And most people don't mind the turkey. A lot of people are iffy with pork these days. I love pork, so not me, but I actually love my greens with smoked turkey versus pork. So there we go. We're breaking it down. I only leave my lid on until it comes to a boil. Then I take my lid off. You don't have to cook your greens with the lid on. I just had the lid on just to kind of bring it to a boil faster. And about every, want to say, 15-20 minutes, you can stir them. And once you get your greens done, look at this, y'all. Look at these greens. Tell me these not the best looking greens you've seen so far. I got my onion in there. As you can see in the last clip, you saw that butter. And I want to get it all. I want the meat in there. I want that skin, some onions. I got my nice cute little bowl from Walmart, of course. Put a little bit of my broth in my greens. And this is a good lunch too. Even though this is just a side for my dinner tonight, it's also an amazing, quick, hot lunch, especially for the fall. Enjoy. I love it. I hope you guys love it too. Like and subscribe. Let me know what else you guys want to learn how to cook. I know it's the holidays, so you better have those greens on the table. I know some people do green bean casserole, but come on now. Would you rather have this or some freaking green bean casserole? Don't play yourself. The full recipe is in the description box. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.